So you send your code, and this is your code, and I trying to fix some issue in here. There are a few things that we must consider when we measure the dose in our phantom. This is the list. First, we must consider what is our particle that we use as projectile in here. I trying to figure out why our code is not working, or at least why the graphical output is not matched with our understanding of the nature of this particle. So at first I thought it was proton. So I trying to figure it out what what what's wrong with this simulation. It turns out that this was photon. So we must really careful about it, since each particle has their own characteristic. For example, in our research, proton therapy, it's
Sir,
very
screen is not
yes.
sharing if you are sharing the screen.
Pardon?
Screen is not sharing, sir.
Oh, sorry. Yes, thanks for the reminder. For example, in our research, proton therapy, the dose gap graph is very different from photon therapy, electron therapy, and carbon ion therapy. It's not the same. So we must really know what particle that really we want to really use. So at first I think it was photon, but it turns out photon. So I use the more realistic one. I use proton instead. And the energy it's also matter, since in proton therapy the this peak, it called Bragg peak. So proton, when they interact with matter, when they enter some material at the most of the time before certain depth, they transfer energy constantly, not almost constant, but it's not it's not that much. But in the end of its path, the proton will transfer almost all of its energy. So it transfer most of its energy, then it will it will stop there. And this Bragg peak, it's what can I say? The energy of this Bragg peak is related to the energy, no, the depth of this Bragg peak is related to the energy of the proton itself. So the more higher the energy, the Bragg peak will be appear in the deeper depth. So that's the basic idea of proton therapy. So yes, we must really define this too. So from your previous one, you choose photon, and then in this coordinate, this is also will give us a problem later. So I think it's better for us to set this 0 and z1 as all 0, and then directly adjust the coordinate in transform section. And I will choose the energy photon as 155 mega electron volt. Yeah, that's about the source. It's really important. and we must really know where we want to put our particle. I think you guys, Mr. Zaid especially, almost true. The part that we can improve is in here. We set this z0 and z1 as 0. After we put the source in a correct coordinate, then we set this one where we want to measure the dose. So this is the result of my simulation. This is the cancer, and this is the source coordinate. So we want to measure at this point, right? This point is it's described by three coordinate. It's z value. Let's say this z value is from negative 5 to negative 15. So we must define that value. So your previous code, it's the minimum value of z is negative 20. So if you say you measure from negative 20, you measure from this area to this area. So which is incorrect. And from negative 40 to 25, yeah, it could be. But if you measure from negative 40, you will measure all of this area, and I mean it's simply it's too long. We don't want to know that far. We only want to know from the skin to the in here actually, or probably in here in x value equal to 0. So until negative 40 is not necessary. And also y value is not from 0 to 10, but you can use from 10 to negative 10 to 10. Well, how I can explain this? The depth from the wait. I think it's better if you visualize our phantom in 3 dimension. Simply just set y is equal to negative 5 to 5 or negative 8 to 10. But I think we must really know the physical meaning of y value. So this vertical part is the y value. If you set from 0 to 10, you you only measure the upper half. So make sure if you want to make it 10, so from negative 10 to 10. Okay. For example, this is my code. So I set my z value negative 25, negative 12. I'm going to just input this 12. And our z value is from, let's say, 20, from 0 until 20. From 0 until 20. Yes, this is the area that we want to measure. So this physical meaning number that I put in here, this is the physical meaning. So X and Z. This is X and Z axis. So yes, along this axis, this bunch of material, we want to calculate in this area. That's the physical meaning. If you, for example, let's take a look from your previous code. If you put z minimum to negative 20, it doesn't make any sense, right? We don't measure the the cancer. It's only in this part, not from negative 20 to 0. So you measure a wrong area. That's where you get result that is not is not make sense, or you think that something is wrong. Yeah, the wrong part is the coordinate that you put in your deposit tally. So if you correctly simulate, this is what will you get. And I simulate this in a number of history. This one. So history is like in iteration. If you ever study about numerical method or computational physics, there is an iteration. So just think about history. It's just an iteration, and the value is max guess times max batch. So in this case, it will be no, it will be 100,000 particle. The better, the more the particle or his story we use, the result will be better. And not only a lot of particle, we also must check the result. When we run our code, there are several files that will appear in our folder. For example, the deposit. We interested in deposit. This is the deposit part, and just ignore it. But this is our value. This is the x lower and x upper. What does it mean? Remember, dose is energy transferred per unit mass, right? So mass cannot be a single axis. You cannot say dose in x equal to z, x equal to 0. It doesn't make any sense. But if you say those from 0 to 2 centimeter, for example, yeah, then it makes sense. In this column, the last column is relative error. Just make sure that your relative error is as little as possible. Make it small as possible. Generally, you can use lower than 10%. So this is 9%, 18%, 63, 8%, 9%. So make sure it's lower than 10%. And the default plot will be look like this. Is still not easy to understand, since they in default plot this in logarithmic scale. You can choose another way to plot with linear scale. In linear scale, we will easily understand the shape of our graph. And how we can do that? Just you can put like this. In the deposit, just add angel equal to violin. Violin is the y-axis as linear. Yeah, just like that. But I I want to just most of the time I just copy this value and open my can use Excel or spreadsheet. Just paste and then I separate it into column, naming the axis and you can just insert some chart. And we get this beautiful looking chart. So it looked like backward. Remember, we shoot the particle from 20 to 0. So the graph will look like it was backward, right? But in most of reference, the graph don't look like that. The graph will look like this. From the initial particle, it slowly build up, slowly going up, and then have a very defined peak at the end of the path of the particle. So we can just reverse, and it will be look like this. So I think in the simulation already correct, since the particle of proton when they interact in matter will look exactly like this. Is there any question?
Position is same for other particles too, for example, for neutrons and protons.
No,
Then you
it's
correct it.
yeah, it's different actually. I think we can I cannot, but you can use the code that I will send it later, or I will upload this in YouTube and give you the link. I want to you guys maybe using this code, you can choose another, for example, proton, neutron, and photon, and you just look at the graph. Okay, I think with that with that practice, you can have a better understanding of how the behavior of particle. So, but in general, it will look like this. X-ray will be a lot of those will be delivered. Most of the most of the those will be delivered in near surface for the X-ray therapy. X-ray therapy, and it will look like this. Any question?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that's it. That's it. Good luck. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.